Okay, it's your boy Pillar back. You want to jump right in? This is from one of the earliest Egyptologists, Emile Alamino. He has a book. It's in French. Excuse me as I try to pronounce it. Prologue hominide et l'étude de la religion égyptienne, written in 1916. So we know King Tut. They just had an anniversary. King Tut tomb is not even found yet, right? This is part 2, page 124 in this book. Go get that book right there. And you can see this is an ancient Kemetic statue, like somebody in the hood. And he says, this is one of the earliest Egyptologists. He says, from very Egyptian legends, I have been able to conclude that the population settled in the Nile Valley were Africans. Since the goddess Isis was said to have been reddish-black woman, in other words, as I have explained, her complexion is cafe au latte, coffee with milk, the same as that of certain other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. Okay, so let's translate that real quick. He's saying, from very Egyptian legends, I have been able to conclude the population settled in the Nile Valley were Africans. So he's saying from various legends, he's saying he concluded, oh, these got to be African people. So when you hear people saying Kevin Hart, oh, he's still in culture. Here you have one of the earliest Egyptologists that says, no, these people are African. Since the goddess Isis, who we call Asar, right, is said to have been reddish black woman. So that's like a copper, like my skin, right? You can't see it, but I'm like a brownish color, right? In other words, as I have explained, her complexion is coffee with milk. The same as that of certain other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. And so I said again, he said the same as certain of other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. This is 1916 when he says, from various Egyptian legends, I have been able to conclude the population settled in the Nile Valley were Africans, right? Since the goddess Isis was said to have been a black woman. All right, so now keep that. He said the same as other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. Now he's saying blacks have complexions like copper, right? So let's keep that. Now watch this. So now we're going into Cheik Anta Diop and his book, The African Origin of Civilization, right? Myth or Reality. This is page 55. You got the book, right? That's Cheik Anta Diop, one of the legends, right? He said, the Egyptian and Negroes, these two men belong to the same race. There is no more color, there is no more color difference between them than between a Bambara and a Wolof. Now remember, if you go study it, they call Noble Juali a Bambara, right? Who are both Negroes. The so-called dark red color of the first merely copper color of the Abyssinian and the copper color of Negroes are one and the same. So here he's saying that what? The ancient Egyptians and us so-called black people, we the same people. That we both belong to the same race, the African race. There is no more color difference between us and the ancient Egyptians than a Bambara and a Wolof. So he's like an East and a West African. It's all the same. They are both Africans. Even though they say Negroes, Africans, right? The so-called dark red color of the first, the merely copper color of the Abyssinia. What's Abyssinia? What is Abyssinia? That is the original name for Ethiopia, modern day Ethiopia. So he said that Africans and black people have a copper color. You see what he just said that? Merely copper color of the Abyssinian and the copper color of the Negro are the same. So you see them both saying, oh, African and these black, they got a copper color skin tone, right? Their skin tone are copper color, right? So watch this. Okay, so we heard Cheik Anta Diop say we had copper colored skin, and then we had Emile Alamino talk about our copper colored skin, right? And then we're going to go to the Webster Dictionary 1828, right? You can see that up here. You can Google it. Webster Dictionary 1828, right? And it says an American, right? American, right? You see it says American, adjective pertaining to America. American. See, I got split up, right? How I say I can't, right? It says a noun. A native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Let me read that again, because what did Cheik and Diop in the meal say? They said these black people have a copper-colored complexion. And so when they defined the definition of American in the 1828 Webster Dictionary, it defines American as, you see it has the word separated, right? It says noun, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Now, did you peep that? They went from first, who was the first American? Now, when they found us, they so-called found us here, now it's applied to their descendants of America. And you called a black American, and they called American. All right, so watch this. Let's go back. So what did the dude say? In 1916, right? Amelindu said what? Blacks, the same complexion as other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. Goddess said to have been reddish black woman. Huh? Cheik and Diop, the Egyptian and the Negro. These two men belong to the same race. Like the Wolof and Bambara. The dark red color of the first, the merely copper color of the Abyssinian, the Ethiopian, the African, and the copper color of the Negro are one and the same. So let's go back to the West, right? Now that's Cheik and Diop, the African origin civilization. In the Webster Dictionary, we say what? A native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. Now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So they didn't just take the whole name. But you can clearly see what happened there, right? And so I just wanted to hit y'all with a little ether, man. Keep studying, study yourself, love yourself. And we're going to keep on building. But you can clearly see, you can Google it. Webster Dictionary, 1828 at the top. You see it? And you can see copper colored for American, copper colored American. Egyptians, African race, the same as that of certain other blacks whose skin seems to cast metallic reflections of copper. The so-called dark red color of the first merely copper color of the Abyssinian and the copper color of the Negro are one and the same. So as I tell you, we was all over the planet, and they know that. That's why they have to control your school, so they can take that from you, because it's like real estate. You become the debtor, they became the creditor. Because why? You have still allowed them to miseducate you. I just showed you how they all know, right? So it's your boy Fella. I love y'all, man. Keep studying, and also study your indigenous rights and proclaim your nationality. I just showed you. You saw it here. Copper color of the Negro. American. Copper color races. Egyptians were Africans. Black woman. The same as certain other blacks whose skin seemed to cast metallic reflections of copper. That's why I always tell you that the ancient American law was Mayat. That's why you found Unks in Mexico. So we're going to build on all that. I'll talk to y'all later. I love y'all. Peace.